Hey guys, this is Nefarious411 and welcome to episode 89 of Regrowth. I'm just sitting down here in my bee lab and I'm trying to breed some more common bees. This one's the pristine stock. Basically converted another rocky drone into a common. That is essentially what I'm going to do moving forward. Because of the fact that I have so many common from up here, I have the excess that I can just throw a large portion of the common drones, and over time it will actually convert the princess into one of these common drones, or into a full common bee. And that's going to be needed because in order to get things like royal jelly, I need to create an imperial bee, and from the imperial it's a noble and majestic, and a noble is essentially a common and a cultivated, and I already have both of these, but I'm going to start with the pristine common princess and just grab some cultivated from down here, and these are good for creating that, and that'll get me the noble. But then the majestic side is just a noble and a cultivated, so it looks like I'm going to need two nobles. So I'll probably, I don't know if I can do that in any particular order. Do I need to have it a princess and a cultivated drone, or can I do it with a cultivated princess and a noble drone? I am not entirely sure. That'll be kind of interesting to see how that pans out. So I'm just going to continue trying to get up to royal jelly, because royal jelly is going to be needed for several of the future things. But before we get started with any of that, I have a portable tank here, and I'm just pulling out all of the raw DNA. And so far I have about 2.5 buckets. Hasn't been long since I recorded the last episode. I just been going through this chest and grabbing some of my junk bees and throwing them in the hopper so that they can start basically getting smashed down into just liquid DNA up here, and that's going to be very handy. So the next thing that we want to do, now that we have the liquid DNA and some of the other liquids that we need, such as the ethanol, some of the bacteria and all of that, we're ready to move on to the next step, and that's with isolating traits from some of these bees. So let's go ahead and grab an isolator. An isolator is just like this. Ooh, I am not entirely sure if that's the same recipe as the other mods. So let me run over to the agriculture building real quick. And let's go ahead and create an isolator. That's going to create 2 of these guys. There we go. That was pretty simple. Do I have bronze gears? Ooh, what's a reinforced casing? Sturdy casing. Okay, I guess I do have some of that. Enzyme, I'll have to grab. And iron. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab all of that. Run over to the other building with the other bees, because I apparently need a couple of enzyme. 2 of those. Now I should be able to run this with an isolator recipe, and there we go. And this one I'm just going to put down real quick, and it looks like this is going to require ethanol. Good thing that I already have some ethanol over here. So I'm just going to stick it right next to the gene pool, and I'll probably go ahead and run ethanol up through the bottom here, just as I did with the other one. Mechanical pipe. Probably don't need anything but the basic. So let's go ahead and grab a basic mechanical pipe. Do that, and now that is completely full. And the nice thing about the isolator is that it isolates the traits from the bees, such as the fertility, whether or not it's nocturnal, or it can pollinate during rain, things like that. And this is exactly what we're going to be using in here. So now we need to have some blank sequences. I went ahead, I have my caps lock on. I went ahead and created the pattern for that. It's pretty simple. It's just glass pane, some paper, some gold. Nothing too big there, so I can go ahead and craft that up. It's probably going to take a little bit to create the glass for it. There we go. And that goes in that slot right there. And let me go ahead and grab some bees. Probably off of this. And let's go ahead and analyze these guys. And let's see what we have here. Fertility, I probably like the 2 fertility. Because I know that like the rocky drones and everything, they don't have but the 1 drone whenever it dies. So it might be nice to get that one. And I don't know if we can get any of the traits for the temperature, but let's go ahead and try this out. Let's go ahead and throw one of these guys in here, and let's go ahead and grab some of this enzyme because that is going to be needed as well. And let's see, not enough power. Did I not run power through here? Apparently I didn't. Let me go ahead and grab, just to make this look fancy enough, let me go ahead and grab one of these hollow covers. Let me grab a couple. Oops, fell through the floor. Put the hollow cover right there. Let's go ahead and run a couple of hollow covers just for safe measure in case we need more of these later. The nice thing about the hollow covers, whenever it's on a pipe, such as the universal cable, it'll actually close that hollow part. That is nice. So then whenever you stick a machine right up to it, it'll automatically get power. So that is something to think about whenever you're doing this. And we can see that it is starting to isolate any kind of genes or any of the other traits off of this Meadows drone. And this will take quite a long time, unfortunately. I don't think there's any way to speed this up. So I guess we can just wait. I'm just going to throw more of these drones in because I think we get only 1 trait per bee that we put in here. So if we get something stupid like slowest worker, that'll basically get rid of that 1 drone, and we'll have to use more drones to get other of the other traits. So let's go ahead and let that run and see where that takes us. Alright, so this is almost done. It actually did take quite a long time, and there we go. We actually have a Apiaris DNA sequence, and as you can see here, it says very faint, unknown, and unsequenced. So the very first thing that we want to do, because we do not know what type of trait this is, so I want to come over here, take it to the analyzer, and throw it in here, and after a little bit, it'll tell us exactly what trait it was able to get off of that Meadows drone. And it is almost done. There we go. Temperature tolerance, none. That was not very helpful. So we got basically nothing. So usage, I can actually smelt this back into a blank sequence, so I might actually do that. So let's go ahead and grab a furnace, I guess. Furnace. Probably not a furnace. Smelter. Smelting factory. Alright, I'm going to have to create one of these. I might just do a furnace, though, because that is going to be a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and grab the cobblestone. There we go. And let's go ahead and craft that up. I'm going to wait for a few more of these to, well, unless I'm mistaken, it doesn't look like it actually took the drone out of here. It Am I wrong on that? Did I have 7 over here? I am not sure. But I'm just going to let this run a few more times and see what other types of traits that we get. See if there's anything that we actually want, and I will be right back. Alright, it has been quite a long time, and I have run through a couple of bees. It doesn't die immediately, so it's not basically consumed after isolating a single one. It looks like it can do quite a few because over here you can see all of the different ones that I have, and I've been trying to keep track of the ones that I like. I like the effect none, so for any bees that have like ill effects like poison or anything like that, you can actually change it to have 0 effect, which is good. Shortest lifespan, rain tolerance, yes, that's a good one. I'd like to get one that's nocturnal as well, but I'm going to start out with this rain tolerance. So now that we have a sequence that we like, we basically need to run it through a sequencer. And I went ahead and created one of those. Sequencer. So let's go ahead and take a look at the recipe for that. It's pretty simple. It's just these integrated circuit boards, a couple of bronze gears, and fluorescent dye this time. This is just orange dye with yellow dye and glowstone, and that creates fluorescent dye. And I was able to create that. Let me place it down here real quick, and we can kind of get a sense of what it'll need. I think this is going to use the fluorescent dye, if I'm not mistaken. No DNA sequence. Let me bring it over here, I guess. Let's just see if this will work over here. Throw that in there, and you can see that it has this little matrix effect. Let me grab some of that dye, some of that fluorescent dye. Probably get a good amount of it. And this is going to take a very, very long time. It hasn't even started the sequencing. Oh, there it goes. So it locked in a letter, and that is now at 1%. And this is going to take maybe 15 minutes or so. So basically the more letters that it has locked into place, the more sequenced it is, and this is definitely necessary in order to actually grab the information from this, I guess, DNA sequence that we analyzed before. So this does show the percentage. We're at 4% now. So we don't necessarily have to run it through the analyzer as I have been doing, but I think I may have mentioned it in the last part. We probably want to go ahead and do that because of the fact that this is taking so long in order to run this. We probably don't want to run it on sequences or traits that we don't really want, because I have a lot of traits that I don't really care about, like species meadows. Don't really care much about that one. It's easy to get meadows. Cave dwelling, no. I would rather have cave dwelling, yes. That way I don't have to have sunlight. But it's just a matter of waiting in order to get this. So let me go ahead and wait for this to complete. I'm still over here trying to get the Imperial, and right now I have the cultivated majestic hybrid. So I'm just waiting for this to create the Imperial. I did get the Noble. I went ahead and put it up here so that I can collect quite a few of these drones. But it's just going to take a little bit because we will need to get that royal jelly in order to proceed. And that is only from the Imperial Queen. So let me go ahead and wait for the sequencing to complete. And as soon as it's done, I will be right back. All right, that was that was good timing. So that completed, and as you can see, it gives you a blank sequence back, and of course you can just throw this back into the isolator if you had some room for it. You're probably wondering what happened to it. I mean, it didn't have any output except for a blank sequence. And if you remember from the one of the previous episodes, we created this gene database. And if we open that up, we can actually see under bees, we have exactly one gene, and that is rain tolerance. And it basically just puts it here in the gene bank for us to use. And the way to use that is with these little empty serum vials. So if I were to grab my gene database and left click this guy on there, you can see that it was able to put that particular gene into this serum bottle. Alright, so to actually use that though, we can't just use it directly on any bees. We need to run this through a polymerizer. And that's reinforced casing, just as we created before, integrated circuit board, just as before, bronze gear, and some gold nuggets. And I went ahead and already created one of those, and it is right there. So if I place that down, we can see the user interface is kind of complex, and this is where the bee DNA comes in. Actually, it doesn't have to be bees. I've been using bees, but apparently you can use like saplings or anything else that you can create the raw DNA from. But we also need something else, and that is what I'm getting ready to create. And that is polymerizing bacteria. And the way to create polymerizing bacteria doesn't really show it in any eye. I believe I'm going to need another incubator. So let's go ahead and create an incubator. That is just like that. So let me create one of those. There we go. I was able to just create it. And this is going to require some bacteria. I'm going to have to figure out a good place for this. I could put it right here. Ugh. Let me just... That was weird. It completely changed my lighting. Alright, so this is going to fill up with bacteria. And I am going to run an ultimate cable to this guy. And we are going to need bone meal. Unlike this guy right here that uses sugar to create the enzyme, if we were to create bone meal and throw that in there, this is going to create polymerizing bacteria, which is also a liquid. Alright. Cool. So now I probably should create another tank, maybe? And it looks like I already have one in here. This is going to be ugly until I can figure out what everything is going to look like. So let's go ahead and grab a basic mechanical pipe and make sure that this is emptying right into that tank, right like that. Cool. So this is going to take a little bit to actually fill up, and we should be able to use it with this polymerizer. And where can I place this guy? Is that that's just a cover. That's not a hollow cover. Let me see if I can find a hollow cover. It's probably not the best place for it, but we need something for that. There we go. And go ahead and place that guy right there, maybe? Well, This is going to be awkward because of the fact that we need two different types of fluids in here. Well, we're probably not going to use this too often. So what I could do, I'll probably need to move this guy. And let's go ahead and grab another couple of cables, or not cables, but the mechanism, mechanical pipes. That is not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and remove that. And let's see if I can put maybe a cover there. Yeah. Definitely needing to redo all of this because this is going to get gross really fast. Alright, so this is filling this up with polymerizing bacteria. And let's go ahead and place that back up there so that we can create the polymerizing bacteria. Now let's go ahead and put some of this in there too, which is our raw DNA. Cool. And you probably saw from the little user interface, we also need gold nuggets. I'm going to keep those in my inventory for now, but let's go ahead and throw this serum in here. And you can see that this is starting a process, and right now this is empty, and this is going to start filling, but this is definitely slow. The gold nuggets basically doubles the speed, which is pretty important. But once it gets through this entire direction, that is going to be a single charge. Dun, dun, dun. Come on, single charge. And there we go. And it starts over. So now we have one charge. And I think these can go up to like 15 or 16 charges, or maybe it's 12, I can't remember. But it does use the polymerizing bacteria, the raw DNA plus power to create these charges. So once that is completely full, we should be able to start inoculating some bees. But before we can do that, we do need to get the Imperial bee because we're going to need some royal jelly. So what I'm going to do right now, this is going to take a little bit to charge up. One of the other things that I can show you while we're waiting is this little guy, which is a serum array. Basically, the serum array, let's see, can I get that? It's just 9 of these serum vials. Basically, this allows you to create a single serum that uses multiple aspects, or whatever those things are. But since I only have one, I only use the single. So if I wanted it to be a Meadows, Nocturnal, Rain Tolerance with a fertility of 4, I can just click on all of those different types and it'll show up in this array. But of course, right now I only have the one, so it's really kind of pointless to show that at this time. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and create some more of these. Probably need to run some more isolations. I might actually throw in more of these sequences and have those start running. And you can put multiples in here, so let's go ahead and put the no effect in there in the backlog. And shortest lifespan, that's probably a good one too. Oop, that's already in there. I guess I can just put that in the furnace and get rid of that one. Cave dwelling, no. Temperature tolerance, none. Yeah, most of these are kind of, I don't know what cathamiral is, but doesn't Doesn't look like there's anything good in here, unfortunately. So let me go ahead and run these through and get those into my gene database, and I can show you what the array looks like. And by that time, this should be completely fully charged, and I'm hoping to have the Imperial be ready to go with some royal jelly. Alright guys, I am back, and I have been playing around with the Majestic Queens, and now I have 42 drones of that, and during that process I was able to get the Imperial bee, which is very nice. I have a lot of these different drones. Still haven't stabilized this. All of the drones that are coming out are kind of different traits, so I'm just trying to stabilize it a little bit before I put it in a little loop like this to essentially loop back. But that does mean that we get royal jelly. So we have 7 royal jelly so far. It's taken a little bit to actually do because right now it's really slow worker, and it really doesn't do much for me, but it is able to produce the different types. I think it's a dripping comb and the royal jelly, so that is very good. And as you can see, I have straightened up this area quite a bit. I even used the fancy signs from Bibliocraft to basically label everything, because I kept forgetting, like once these run out, I kept forgetting what actually needs to go in these. And there seems to be some weird bug where it's not showing that the items are empty. Basically you have to click on it before it actually appears to be gone, because like that it just disappeared. It's not updating the inventory once it consumes it. So that's something to take into consideration, because if you come in here and think that you have a full inventory, it's probably not accurate. You might have to click on it just to see if the items are still there. But we do have a full tank of this polymerizing bacteria. Well, pretty close to full. I think 13, almost 14 buckets. And I'm still working on my bug squasher. And I used 2 icons for this one. Basically, boots smashing a bee. And this is the gene pool, which is basically smashing it down into the raw DNA. And I still have quite a bit of this. I did have like 5 buckets, but I played around with the other polymizer, and you can actually see here that I have that rain tolerance. I used it as my icon. I can always just create different ones. This one I went ahead and ran through completely through the inoculator. Where did I put that? Is it the polymerizer? Yeah, I guess it's the polymerizer for that. Basically, it ran through and it gave me the 16 charges. So I could use this one up to 16 times on bees. We'll get to that in a follow-up episode. But I do have my Imperial drone down here. I went ahead and did the temperature and humidity tolerance both to 5 up and down. That way I'm trying to actually pull those traits off. And right now, that is actually sending through this advanced logistical transporter all the way over there to the analyzer, and these are automatically analyzing and dumping it into this ME chest. And if we look in here, we can actually see this. I did have a normal double chest in here before, but I was having difficulty figuring out what I had. So if I type in territory, it'll show all of the territory related ones that I have. Right now I have 3 unique ones, so it's really hard to tell. Rain tolerance, pollination, maybe the other pollination I can throw in here. Pollination, no, I guess I only had the one. Thought I had more than that. Territory average, yeah. Still getting some of the crappy ones. I do have a few that I really liked, such as the, I guess it's already put it into my gene database. I was able to strip off the species of Majestic, so that is pretty cool. So now I have the ability just to take one of those little vial things. What are those called? the serum canisters and be able to look in my gene database and be able to grab a majestic. So then I would be able to turn any bee directly into a majestic, and that would be pretty cool because of the fact that I can immediately get a rocky princess very easily and a pristine stock and immediately convert to essentially any species. That is pretty awesome. This is just taking a very long time, so I went ahead and placed a hopper up there with any of the other ones that I cared about. I'm trying to not get any duplicates, and as you can see, I have the beautification or beatific effect, and that is nice because the majestic actually has that trait. So let me go ahead and sleep through the night so they can start working again. These bees, the effect is pretty cool because if I'm standing here long enough, all of a sudden I'll start getting a regeneration. So you can see that I have regeneration turned on. That's just by being close to the apiary with the majestic drones. That is very cool. So, oh, did this actually stabilize? Let me just double check. Well, still has some active and inactive that are a little bit off, but I am definitely getting closer. As you can see, the princess here, the inactive and active are the same, so most likely that will allow me to stabilize the drones that are coming out of it. I am only going to put one of those in there. Put the other one down here just for safekeeping. But we are in pretty good shape right now. We have essentially all of the other liquids and the ability to create the sequenced items and create the other serums. So in the next episode, we're going to go ahead and take the royal jelly that we were able to get from the imperial bee and start using that to breed something that will allow us to use these serums. But I'm going to have to wrap it up for today. I think we've done quite a bit of good work recently with all of the genetic stuff. This is all new to me. I'm still trying to learn everything that's involved with genetics. Looks like I'm doing pretty well on my saplings for now, probably because I'm not running that stuff non-stop as I was before. I did run out of saplings and had to go manually plant some trees, but I think we're squared away with that. So I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you could rate and comment down below, it would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you like the series, please hit that subscribe button. But for now, this is goodbye.